Okay, so we are on.
Setting your meeting for Facebook Live. Let the computer start heating up.
Okay, are we good to roll? I think
we're live.
Oh, we are? Okay, good. I'll start. Hey, everyone. Welcome to the hot seat. This is kind of cool. There's a bunch of people here, but me and Greg are here to talk to Amanda and try and help her figure out how we can give her a little bit of clarity and focus. It's probably the biggest thing we got out of the tribe, Greg and I, and actually we're both in the tribe again. And that's what we're trying to get out of it. And all we really want to do is give back a little bit and see how we can help each other out. It's the best part of being here, I think. Figuring out ways how we can help each other. I think it helps ourselves the best. Anything you want to say, Greg, before we get started?
I like what you said, Brian. So
okay.
All right, so I'm gonna turn off my video because these two guys are gonna lead. This is a member-led event, and then Amanda will be the victim. Is that what we're calling?
No. She's just a 1% like the rest of us.
Okay.
We're all working slobs.
All right. Well, I'm gonna turn my video off, and I'll just sit and listen. I'll mute myself. If you need something, wave frantically, and I'll try to fix it on my end.
Thanks, Sean. I appreciate it. Hey, Amanda, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
Thank you for being our first victim. I don't want to call it that, but I'm very happy to have you here. I'm excited to talk to you, get to know you a little bit better, and see if there's any way we can sort of help you out. So maybe sort of let us know what brought you to the 1% and what you're trying to get at, and we'll see what we can do.
Sure. So I'll give you a quick backstory about me. I live near Cleveland, Ohio. Stumbled upon Ryan's stuff a couple years ago. So I've been watching his stuff for years, joined the 1%, probably the beginning of this year. I did the $1 Million brand, went through that training, and let's see, I will be turning 40 this summer. I work full-time as a social worker. So I'm a licensed mental health counselor. I work from home, and then I work part-time for a friend who has a company. He's had this business for about 7 years, so I'm his only employee. And he's kind of like a mentor for me. I'm learning a lot from him and from his company. And so my parents were entrepreneurs. They owned a business, raised their family, through that. Really admire them, and they're hardworking.
Sean, we lost sound to Amanda.
Yeah, she's breaking up a little bit.
Okay.
So you'll just have to.
We'll just wait it out then. There you go. You're back. You're back.
Sorry.
No, it's not you. It's the interwebs. So you're saying you come from like a family of entrepreneurs?
Yeah, my grandparents were entrepreneurs. They owned a business. They had a brick and mortar, and my sister is an author. She has about 8 books out, so she has 4 more coming out this year. So super inspired by that, and learning a lot from my friend and his business. And I guess, it sounds cliche. I'm a social worker, but my whole life I've always said, I want to help people. I just don't know how and in what capacity. I always wanted to have my own business, so that's kind of why I'm here and why I joined the group.
Why do you want to have your own business?
I guess because just because of my past work experience. I've done a lot of different things, and I enjoy what I do, but I feel like I'm not always being authentic to myself and what my passions are and what I feel like my purpose is, if that makes sense. So yeah, I just feel like I have more to offer, and from my work experience, I don't feel like it's always been the best fit for me.
So what is it that you think that you have to offer? I mean, what would make you feel like more authentic?
Gosh, that's a great question. I really enjoy working with people. So I work from home right now, and I do not like the fact that I work from home. I feel like I do better maybe one-on-one or working with people. I feel like I am the person that people come to all the time, and like I'm always like I'm a good support and a good listener for people. So I guess I feel like I say all the time, my job is fine. It's fine, but I don't want my life to be fine. I want it to be better and better than fine, and feel like I'm getting more fulfillment out of my day.
One of the things that I've struggled with the most, and only recently I've gotten some clarity on. For the longest time, I was able to say what I don't want to do, and that was easy. And I give you a long list of all the shit I didn't feel like doing. But if anybody cornered me and tried to get me to say, okay, well, Bram, that's very nice, but then what do you want to do? And then I'd get lost. Does that sound familiar?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I feel like I always say, I always say to people, I want to help people. I just don't know in what avenue. Like, that's kind of been my line that I've been saying for the last couple of years. I know, areas that I'm passionate about, and I guess things that kind of light me up and make me happy. But how do I turn that into, a business, I guess?
Like what? What makes you happy?
Honestly, people.
Oh, froze again. We'll wait for you to unfreeze. So the staying at home thing, I think it's that's going to stick for a while.
I think so. Yeah,
that's not going away anytime soon. You're back, Amanda. You're back.
I thought I'd go out.
So you're saying you like working with people, and I think I read somewhere that you have like an idea about like doing kids' clothes. Like you weren't the person you work with now that you help out is like an apparel, and you said somewhere I did some looking around, what you had up in the group, and you said that you wanted to do kids' clothes and you wanted to sort of teach love and kindness through words.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So my friend, quick on his business. So I do his customer service. So I just kind of helping with him and with his production. And so he does all made in America apparel.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of like Black Rifle Coffee. That's kind of like what his brand is, very much like that.
Black Rifle.
Sorry.
Clothing?
I'm sorry?
Like Black Rifle clothing?
Black Label. Sorry. Is
okay.
it Black Label Coffee? I'm not
That's
a coffee
Black Rifle Coffee.
Black Rifle. Sorry. I'm not a coffee drinker.
Okay.
He's like that conservative kind of all-American kind of brand. So anyways, I've been working with him since August. He's the only one running this business. I'm very, like I said, he's like a mentor to me. So anyways, he wants to do another line eventually, and we've talked about doing that. But I guess for me, I'm really big on children. I was a nanny. I don't have kids myself, but I just see how powerful words can be, and how important it is to have like support and other people in your life. I personally have been through like emotional abuse in my life, and I know how damaging that can be. And I have nephews, and I just try very hard to be very positive and loving with them, and use positive words and stuff. And I guess being a counselor, I've worked with kids and stuff too that have been through, a lot of not so great situations. And then growing up, kind of where the backstory of this comes from is, I mentioned my grandparents were entrepreneurs. So I lived with my grandparents growing up. My parents were divorced, and my mom, lived with us in the household too. And growing up, I didn't have a ton of money, but I always felt like I was loved and supported by my mom and my family. My mom would always leave me notes in my lunch bag. And, I always remember her leaving me those notes and leaving those messages. So my idea was kind of like doing a clothing line where somehow there would be messages like in the pockets. I envisioned like inside of a hat, maybe inside of sleeves. and they would be like messages that parents handwritten, and they would be printed into the clothing.
I like that so much more than what I imagined that meant when I read what you wrote up.
Yeah. Well, I guess I was kind of honestly scared to share my idea, only because I didn't know if it was a good idea or
Why?
not. Yeah.
Because you thought that someone's going to laugh at you?
Yeah, I did, honestly. Yeah. And I've shared it with other people, and I've shared it with the guy that I work with. But, you know, I keep coming back to this idea. I mean, I literally am looking at the cover of my 1%, and I see picture of kids, and the 1% magazine has a little boy wearing a tie, and I envision messages on the back of a tie. Like, I just want nothing but, like, positive, like, messages. And I don't know if you know the Dr. Emoto water study, but that's kind of like what I'm basing it on, like the power of words and how powerful they are, and just kind of the idea of having like those words with you. And like if you look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, like we do need love, and, you know, and support. And I mean, I'll be totally honest, like I've talked to my therapist and going through retraining my brain through the emotional abuse that I've been through. It's like, you know, she's like, it's okay. Like you need that from other people, and you need that support. And I think kind of for a child to reach in their pocket and pull that out and see that message, I think is kind of a good reminder, especially with all the bullying and the negativity and stuff in the world. Yeah. So that's kind of where I'm going with it and where my passion is.
You immediately remind me of someone I know who insistently posts the note she writes on her kids' napkins for lunch. Every single morning, she writes them something encouraging, and she posts this on my Facebook feed. She's I think she's a lawyer or something. Someone I work with on real estate introduced me, and I've never talked to her about work, but I love those notes she sends to her kids every day.
Yeah. I envision like having an Instagram just full of like, you know, positive messages that parents wrote to kids, you know, on their clothing. I mean, I ordered a lunch bag from, you know, AliExpress. I toyed with the idea of starting with a lunch bag and having a pocket in there, you know, and expanding it to that. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. And I've talked to my friend about it. The issue is going to be the printing, because he's printing large quantities. So that's kind of where I'm running to the issue right now, is figuring out how to print it. So, I mean, I've talked to people locally. I have a call in a couple of weeks with a clothing department. My friend said he'd give me some blanks I could practice on, because he's already set up, you know, he has a pretty big following. So, you know, I'm very blessed to be in the position that I am and to have help from him and to learn from him. So.
But so, Greg, you want to ask something?
I was just going to ask, Amanda, where do you feel like you're stuck right now? What's the main thing that feels like a roadblock to you in this process?
Honestly, I would say I'm stuck with number one, developing two things. I would say developing the product, and number two is putting the idea out there. And I know it sounds silly, but you know, I'm not a parent, and I know I don't have to be. But I don't know really what my story is. And that's me doubting myself, you know, and feeling like I'm not good enough or adequate enough, that I don't have a good enough story to share. And don't get me wrong, I mean, I am selling myself short there. I mean, I was a nanny, like people call me the baby whisperer. Like I'm very good with children and stuff like that. But yeah, but I mean, it's coming from me and my experience with my mom and, you know, my family. And that's what's most important to me. So,
If I may just offer my quick observation, I think you do have a story. I think you just told your story about how, you know, this was a struggle for you early on, and it's created kind of an ongoing struggle for you, and that you just want to, you know, help other people to kind of avoid that path and not have to do the hard work that you're having to do now. So you're out there helping people to not have to take that same path, to take the easier path, and to, you know, be positive and you know, affirming to them as soon as possible at an early age. So, you know, maybe you could kind of look at it that way. You don't have to be a parent. You don't have to, you know, say that you're some sort of expert at being the parent, but what you can say is you're an expert being that child.
Yeah.
You've already been that child, and so that's who you're helping, and you're helping the parents help the child. So maybe kind of taking that approach frees you up from having to worry about, whether or not you're a worthy expert to do what it is that you want to do. So.
No, thank you. I appreciate that feedback, and I agree. I mean, it's me holding myself back, and I think what you said, it is, it's doing that inner child work, and talking with my therapist, and I mean, I'm a counselor, so I do a lot of, I work on myself too, and I do a lot of reading, and I love that stuff, and I think it's really important, and that's just something that we all need, and it's okay to want that, love and acceptance, and I have to be okay with saying that is okay, and having that connection. And to me, like, that is so important, people and connection to me, that's how my life is. Like, that's how I want to live my life, is being a good support and connection for people in my life. So that's kind of what I want to create with doing that. But yeah, I think it just makes me feel a little bit vulnerable, and there's stuff for myself that I mean, being totally honest, that I need to work on too. But.
Sure. Okay. Have you started with any kind of audience building or anything in that regard, kind of looking ahead at building the group of people who would respond to this brand?
Not really, because I guess I wasn't sure if I should like target parents or like kids, or like what direction to go in with it. But yeah, I mean, I definitely need to do more of that. I guess I was stuck with what kind of content can I put out now? I mean, that's where I'm not sure what I could put out currently. But yeah, I mean, I've talked to people, like I definitely have talked to my friends with kids. I put stuff out on my Facebook, ask people, hey, do you write notes to your kids? Do your kids pack their lunch bags? Where do you buy clothing? So, I mean, I've done stuff like that, but not actually developed, my particular page or my platform.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I think you should start a Facebook group right now. I mean, once we're done, when we get off this call, you should start a Facebook group.
Okay.
Me and Greg will join it.
Okay, thank you.
And then we'll and start talking to people, and you figure out by yourself how to talk to people, what resonates and what doesn't. But there is no way of getting around actually having to do it in the real world and being vulnerable. But
that's life.
No, but what the good thing is about being vulnerable is that you're very aware that you're alive, as opposed to when you constantly surround yourself with cotton balls. Then you might feel very safe, but you can wonder whether you're alive or you're just sort of a spirit wisping through. So even if it feels a little bit raw, I would always go for being vulnerable. It's part of being a human being.
Absolutely. And Amanda, I think right now may be an excellent time to begin this, because I've got a bunch of kids and they're all home now, and I'm working from home, and it's just a very different family dynamic. Yeah. And I think that I can tell you that in our own household that our mental health is being tested in new ways with each other. And so I do think that there's going to be a demand for parents who would like to maintain a healthy relationship with their children, but are concerned about the situation their children are in with isolation from friends and a completely new, look of what school means and what school is during the day. So I think that you can find a lot of parents out there who in the coming days, weeks, hopefully no longer than that, are going to be starting to be more and more concerned about, are they doing the right thing? Are they doing enough? Both with school and being a parent and trying to manage everything else that we have to do. And I think you can step in and just offer some advice about some things, some simple things that parents can do to maintain healthy relationships with their kids when everybody's stuck inside. You can probably mention the idea about notes, like you want to do. Start it out just having the parents kind of do it themselves, just prompt them to do it. And you can, on Instagram or something, you can have, like you said, pictures of a note in a lunch bag. I mean, you can still make them lunch and put it in a bag if that creates some more routine and normalcy for them. But I think kind of tying this around the current situation makes a lot of sense. And I think you would get a lot of buy-in from people who are in a very strange situation, trying to figure out what this means for their lives and how they can continue to do what they want to do well. So it's a horrible situation, but it actually presents you with a really great opportunity to step in and start doing what you want to do, I think.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. And even me having my background like in counseling, you know, there's a big part of me that's like, okay, how could I help people right now? Because people are feeling isolated, you know, and kids. I mean, you know, I would be willing to get on a Zoom call and talk to kids or teenagers. I have friends that are teachers that are like, my kids are lost, you know, right now, and they're struggling and stuff. And my sister, who I mentioned is an author, she's a high school teacher and she writes young adult books, and she does like speaking events with them and stuff too. So, I mean, my sister said too, you know, she's willing to help me and support me with what I want to do. So, yeah, but I mean, I think now I'm like, well, what could I do? What could I offer to other people? So, no, thank you for saying that. I think it is a good time to do it, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the idea of modeling sort of the note passing, especially when everybody's sort of stuck with each other and it's very difficult to get away.
Yeah.
It's there's an intimacy to it that you don't have where it's sort of difficult to get time together. Where, you know, if you model that, I mean, even if you start a Facebook page or an Instagram whatever account, and you just put a note. You just write whatever you would write to a kid you're thinking that's stuck in the house with, you know, 4 other kids. And every day, all you need to do is figure out one note you would write every day. Take a picture of that, put it out there. And that will help a lot, because that, you know.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I do a lot of, you know, as a social worker, I go into a lot of homes and I visit people. I'll go into skilled nursing facilities. I see people that, you know, who are older and sick, and, you know, people just always want to talk about their families and share their memories and their connections. You know, to me, that's the most valuable thing. And me personally, like in my house, like I don't have a lot of stuff hanging up. I have old thick artwork that my grandma did, and I save notes and cards. Like that's super important and sentimental to me. And that's, I think, I know it sounds silly, but I can kind of find like clothing almost as like comforting too. Like I used to do CrossFit, and when I wear that, I feel powerful, you know? And so that's kind of what I'm trying to create with my clothing line, and just to save that and to have that memory in the parents' handwriting and to feel that like comfort and support is kind of what I'm trying to create with that. So.
But you know, as you spend time trying to figure out exactly how you want to do like your clothing brand, and whether it's you want to actually print private messages into every piece of clothing, or maybe you want to do like little pockets where you put notes in. And if you start your brand by just writing notes, and then afterwards connected to clothing that you can put those notes that you're already associated with, I think that'll be really, really strong.
Yeah, I love that.
And then you don't need to now, you know, freak out about how the hell do you get clothing brand started, and how do you produce it, and how do you get it to it, and what size and what color. None of that matters if you establish yourself as some, you know, writing intimate notes to your kids.
Okay. Yeah, no, I love that idea. I agree. I mean, I just need to start, and I think
I lost the voice again. Even when you're not talking, it doesn't matter. We can almost hear exactly what you're saying. But you'll be back in a minute. Try now. No, we can see you move. Can you talk? Try talking, Amanda.
There we go.
There you're back.
Sorry.
Okay. So you're going to start a Facebook group. When are you going to start the Facebook group?
Today.
Okay, good. You're going to invite me and Greg.
Yep.
And then we're going to invite everybody we know.
Sounds great.
Okay. And then you're going to post every day with like take a picture of notes or something like that.
I love that idea. Yeah.
And then anything else you come up with.
Okay.
That's really cool. What else do you want to get done?
What else do I want to get done?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, should I try more stuff? Well, I know I shouldn't ask. I shouldn't say it like that.
So I'm sorry. Just go ask. Don't stop.
I'm just catching my words there. Should I start doing more like with the clothing? Like, I mean, I scheduled an appointment to talk to a company in like a week and a half. So I've been looking at things like sublimation printers and like heating presses, and like my friend that I work with now, he's like, Amanda, just sew it and make your own prototype and put it out there and be like, hey, would you buy this and stuff? I mean, I can sew, I can make stuff. So I think if I build the audience, I mean, should I start sharing stuff like that and see what people think?
Yes, to absolutely everything.
Okay.
Amanda, does working on the clothing stuff, is it exciting and fun, or does it feel like work?
No, I think it's fun. I feel like I'm stuck with it though right now.
Okay.
It's like I don't know what my next step is. But yeah,
Okay.
no,
If starting the group sounds interesting,
yeah.
you get, you know, when you have 50 people in the group, then you can start to ask people's opinion about what they think. And then you can actually involve your audience in building the product,
Yeah.
and then they have buy-in. They feel involved in the creation, and they're far more likely to place an order on day one as soon as it's ready to go. And,
Right.
and you have a list of buyers ready to go before you have to commit serious time, effort, and money into production. So
Yeah.
keep doing what you're doing with the clothing. Find out what your options are for manufacturing, test a few different things. If you can sew a prototype, absolutely do that, put it out there and see what feedback you get.
Okay.
But if you do the audience in parallel at the same time, they can help you with this as well. So you won't have you don't have to second guess yourself about,
better than me just trying to build it on my own to think, is this what they want? Ask them, is this what you want?
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, I
take
go ahead.
pressure off of me, I think too, in that sense. Yeah.
I think probably the hardest thing about coming up with new ideas is not sharing it with anybody, and having it stuck in your own head and then spinning. And it's very difficult to make that jump from just having it in your head to sharing it with somebody, because we're all afraid that we're going to get laughed at and that it's ridiculous. And how, who are you to come up with this stupid idea? Get back in line.
Right.
Acting like the rest of the folks. But the moment that you share it, I mean, everybody loves seeing someone else coming up with a new idea, and everybody loves seeing someone else being really, really passionate about what they're doing, even if the idea that they have is stupid and is not going to go anywhere. The fact that you have the guts to try something out and put it out there, that's so much more fascinating than whether the idea itself is good. And people will buy mediocre and bad ideas all day long based on how passionate someone's about it, as opposed to someone who has an absolutely brilliant idea and comes out completely like a dead fish and present it. Here's my brilliant idea. Just take it. I'm brilliant. As opposed to someone who's really excited about it. So
yeah, and not having that audience or those followers or know who
it'll make it real.
Yeah. Okay.
And people buy things. People buy things based on how that thing makes them feel, how that purchase makes them feel. And your brand is going to be all about helping people to feel good about themselves and to help their children feel good about themselves. So you already have that built in, to this whole thing. And so I'm sure your products are going to be awesome, but what Bram just pointed out is that even if your products aren't awesome, if you have an audience that's completely bought in to what you're going to do, they'll still be there for you. They'll still buy them. They'll give you feedback, and things can always improve down the road. And so don't get too hung up on the product without involving the audience in the process, I think. And what you're trying to do is I think it will really lend itself to building a passionate group of people who are going to love everything you do and want to be involved in the process with you.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So there seems to be an awkward pause there. So I'm going to jump in.
Oh, Sean, good timing.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Good stuff. So I'm just going to ask one kind of follow-up question just to change gears a little bit. But Amanda, so what's your biggest takeaway from this call so far? If you just look back over everything, what was your biggest takeaway?
Well, honestly, to me, I love just having people listen. So just having that support was huge and helpful for me. But for me, so I just want to say thank you for that and for the time for listening. But for me, the biggest takeaway is just to take action and focus on my audience and listen to them and what they want.
Cool. All right. Well, you got your marching orders from the, I think I'm going to name these guys the BG Boys for Bram and Greg.
Oh,
that may stick. So
oh
I'm
no!
going to put
Oh
that out
shit!
there.
And we're never gonna. Yeah, we're never gonna.
BG Boys. So we'll see how. Not Bougie Boys. That's different. So, well, we're going to wrap up. I appreciate everybody who's on and who watches this after the live. If you like these, let Bram and Greg and just comment on this thread under the live video or on the video replay. Let people know. If you want to volunteer and be in the hot seat, let Bram and Greg know, and we'll make these happen depending on demand. And we're just trying this out and want to give the community what they want. So let us know. Other than that, guys, anything else you want to say before I hit the end meeting for all button? See, I feel like I have a lot of power.
Yeah. Don't let it go to your head. No, it's been great. It's a lot of fun doing this, and I hope we'll have some more opportunities to do this.
All right. Well, everybody, get back to work or get back to watching Netflix, whichever you were doing, and scrolling the old Facebook. And we'll see you again real soon.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys. Thank you.